Hi, Chris Conway here. I'm probably the only one excited by this, but it's 30 years since the release of my debut solo singer-songwriter album, Sounds Like Rain, and 1995. Well, I've got one of the original cassettes. That's how things were done in those days. 1995, I could only afford a cassette. CDs were pie in the sky then. And it's properly printed, but I could only afford black and white. The cover was taken from a family holiday in Cornwall, and I just looked at my records. That's very studious records in those days. Apparently I made 180 of these cassettes, and I've only got this one left, so I must have sold them, who knows. But yes, then after a few years, I guess after that, CDRs were popular from your own computer. So I did make a CDR release of it. Yay, color! The same photo, slightly stretched out. And I even had a booklet with a lyric sheet in it. And that must have been a bit tricky to do with the, word presses as we had at the time. I couldn't afford fancy shiny paper, though it's typing paper. But it was a step up. It wasn't a big run though. And look, even printing on that, on the disc. It wasn't a long run. I did 11. And this is one I've got left. So, yay, I sold 10 CDs. Then an unusual thing happened after 4 years after initial release. A record company called Zaza was re-releasing an album I made with Jazz Orient, Bird Dancer. And they also were interested in jazz, so they released a sort of greatest hits of my jazz recordings with my quartet and Happy Landings trio. And that came out as a breathtaking album. And for some reason, they were happy to take this album, It Sounds Like Rain. They rejigged the cover. I didn't do the graphics. There's a funny story about actually you can see on the back of the booklet, because that did come with a proper printed booklet, all shiny. They used my photo from that Cornish holiday. But a funny thing happened. I remembered the cover was just going to be a seashore cover, probably that one. But I was talking to my friend Vicky Clayton, singer-songwriter, and she had read that for singer-songwriters, they sold 15% more or 20% more, something like that, if the singer-songwriter had their own photo on the front of the album. And that's not what I had planned. So I told the record company this, and it was agreed I should do that. But I hadn't really got many photos of myself then. I was only playing locally, but I did have this one made for some reason. I think I was playing at the Phoenix Theatre as was. But it was black and white. So this black and white photo got stuck on the back of a color photo, and the graphic designer just made this random halo around it. Never mind. It's also got released with 3 bonus tracks. I think I was trying to partially sweeten the deal. I also had these tracks left over from projects I'd made, some touring albums with Roger Pugh. And we toured Germany several times. And we made an album of his songs, my songs. And when we finished touring, Roger took his songs and made some albums of them. And I took some tracks as well and put them as bonus tracks. But I had 3 left over, so I thought this way they get released. So, yeah, that was that. So what happened to this album after that? The good side was it was the early days of online shopping, online CD shops like Amazon and stuff. And so this picture did get everywhere. This album at least was seen everywhere. I don't think it's sold because I never got any money. I would get an annual statement from the record company saying units we had at the end of last year, units we had this year, and difference 0, and we owe you 0. And I would every year for about 10, 15 years get a letter with this statement: we owe you nothing. And oddly, it's on digital services like Spotify and things like that now, and I never agreed to that. It wouldn't have been in a contract because it didn't exist then. So I'm not getting any money from that. I did think about I could release my own remastered digital 30th anniversary remastered edition or something, and then I would get the pennies come from that. Excuse me. So yeah, who plays on it? I was one of the things I was most worried about. I've been playing with the Storm Thieves, did a couple of albums with them where we rotated the vocals and songwriting, right like Crosby, Stills and Nash did. So I was worried that it was going to be really boring if I sang all the songs and it was all my songs, and I was trying very hard to bring in variety of styles. I even was thinking of, I remember changing my vocal style from track to track. One's a bit more in your face, some more soft, more mellow. I was thinking it all and then bringing in different styles. I was also able to bring in my bandmates from the Storm Thieves who play on a track and guest on a few other bits of other tracks. And my other band, the Talking Fish, are on quite a few, 2 or 3 tracks as well. And also Carl Peberdy from the Rain Garden, which is another group I was in, world music, sitar tabla player. So yeah, I was trying to get. There's a jazzy track. There's a folky track. There's a West Coast. There's a lot of Celt. I got a bit big into. I can see the influences. West Coast, of course, America, but Alan Stivell I was big on. So all the Celtic-y stuff. I can hear a lead guitar solo on the first track, which I know I was heavily influenced by Dan Arbraz, the Britton electric guitar player. I certainly nicked his sound somehow there in doing that. But yeah, it was a big explosion of this is my stall. This is my setting out my stall. This is what I can do. And it stretched me a lot at the time. And yes, it didn't change the world. It didn't make me rich and famous. But I'm still pleased with it. Going back, it's interesting to hear when I'm exploring with my chords. What if I go up there, and instead of using, common shapes and things, I was on some tracks pushing it a little. And yeah, I've been wondering how to commemorate it. I thought I'll try and learn some songs and stick them in sets this year, and maybe even online try and learn a song and talk about it afterwards, what inspired the song and things like that. If I get the energy, I'm partially thinking of working on a new album. So these are all ideas, but certainly I've been trying to get back in training on the songs and the guitar, and I've been going through these songs. I'll certainly bring some back. 2 songs I've always stayed in my repertoire, which I brought out occasionally. Who Pays the Price, which is very kind of Dave Crosby sounding song, and the other one is a finger-picking song, Tomorrow Lives Again. Again, for some reason I've always played that now and again. That stayed in my repertoire. Anyway, I hope you give it a listen online. Sounds Like Rain on Spotify and everywhere else. And see what you think about it. Let me know if you like it. And it's where my solo singer-songwriting career began. So hope you enjoy it. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.